Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Ask Angel. It's been a while since I've been on a live feed, so I'm on the first Wednesday of every month, looking for your questions and trying to find out about what's happening out there with you all. Lots of people have sent in questions that they want me to look at on a spiritual perspective, if you like. But one of the first things I would just like to talk about as a medium, but not really as a medium, but as a spiritual person, someone who's walking a path of enlightenment, to try and be in touch with my own spirit, my own soul, and go about as a healer. Because for me, my job is to be a healer rather than anything else. That's what I see myself as. I see myself as a healer. And I know just being a human being is hard enough for most of us, but as a healer, you go about the world with a heightened sensitivity. And we are very sensitive. If you're a healer, you're very sensitive to energies, and because really that's what we all are. We are all energy. And we all emanate that energy in the aura which is around all of us. So one of the first things I would like to talk about before I start answering questions is, as a healer and as people who walk in this path, we are not here to judge how another person lives their life. We're not here to discuss how other mediums or healers work, because we all bring a different energy, we all bring a different vibration. And for me, if we're working in the power of love, then we go about our work as a loving being, loving one another, and going out there to support other mediums, to support healers, empaths, counsellors. We're not in competition, because what we're here to do is to try and raise the vibration of those people who have not yet woken up to that we're more in this physical body. No one has the right to judge another person's work, how they perform, how they speak, because we're all different and we're all on a different level of the path. So basically everyone who's on that awakened state, who are saying we believe that we are more than this physical being and we've woke up, because that's what we're saying, we've woke up to the truth that we are spirit in this physical body, then we have to go out there with a warm and open heart, and we have to go forward with our work and only be concerned what we do and how we conduct ourselves. I know when I work, I invite people to bring in the power of love. I say, think of those people that you love in the spirit world and allow the love to build up in the room, because it's that love, that power of love, which I can then ride on that wave and go up into the spirit world to be that communicator of love, because it should be about healing, it should be reconnecting the people who love one another to bring forward that truth. And it really saddens me when we discredit other people who are trying to bring in love and healing, because who are we to judge? The only person who can judge is the person receiving that message. End of. Because it doesn't matter what's given. It could be one word, one mannerism, one tiny piece of evidence that is just right for that soul to know that that was their loved one. So the first thing I would ask is that people go out there to stop judging, to stop criticising, and just work in the power of love as a healer. Because see, if you do that, then you're doing the work that you're here to do. You're doing the work as a healer to try and help that soul who is hurting, who is lost, to go forward. And that's it. And that's how I see myself. I don't see myself, I talk about being a psychic medium, but for me, my job is a healer. And I try to walk my talk. I know there's times when I won't always feel loving every single day, because I'm human. There's some days I go down, some days I go up. But on the whole, I like to think I'm a loving soul, and I want to do the work of love, because that's it. I just see myself as that big hippie, want to go out there to heal the world and to bring in love for the people who are needing it most. Those who are grieving, those who are sad, those that are in pain. And that's what I need to do. And I do it by bringing forward the memories of whatever way the spirit will want to go in and bring it. Sometimes, yes, they'll bring in names, telephone numbers, addresses, but sometimes it'll be a silly little thing, like today, a pink carnation, and that was all that woman needed to hear. So we are not in charge of how it comes in. We have to give ourselves over in service. And once we bring ourselves over in service and we hand ourselves over to the spirit world, that's when the magic happens. That's when the miracles happen. Not going into the spirit world with a checklist. Not going in and saying, I need, I want, I am. We have to give ourselves in service. And once we do that, then anything and everything is possible. And that's when you get the real miracles happening. Okay? The real miracles will happen there. And the other thing I would like to say as well is that, you know, some people want to push themselves forward and they really want to get recognition for whatever reason, and that is also fine. I don't have a problem with that, because I go out and I work in small demonstrations, I work in large demonstrations. It doesn't matter to me where I work. It doesn't matter if there's one person there, because for me it's about that healing and that love connection of the person that's needing it. But what I will say to people, you know, when you let go and let God, that's when things will happen for you. You know, when the wrong people leave your life sometimes, that's when the good things start to happen. And one of the things we have to let go of is what the human aspect of us would want. Does that make sense? What the human being would want. And remembering that we are spirit and a soul first, then that's what's going to get the real magic coming in, the real miracles. Because what we do is a miracle, connecting the two worlds together for that short period so that that other soul can feel the love from the spirit world. It's a bloody miracle. It's magic. It's the real magic happening then. And that's what we really need to get back in. And that's what I really want to see. And it's great that so many people feel a pull to do the healing work for the spirit world. It's absolutely wonderful and I love it. But what I would like to remind some people of, it is a craft. It is an apprenticeship. And we all have to serve an apprenticeship. Whether you're a footballer, a ballerina, a pianist, or go out to be a healer, as a psychic, as a medium, as a hands-on healer, whatever, you have to serve your time in your craft to perfect it. Okay? It takes 10,000 hours to be a fantastic footballer, to be a fantastic pianist, to be whatever you want to be, a singer, you know, a soprano. It takes time and practice and effort. You can't do it by going through the fast food chain, by doing a few courses and going in there. You need life experience. You need to feel the power of love. You need to have that soul experience, because through your own soul's experience can you then go forward and touch another soul and recognize what that soul has been through. And for the soul of the spirit to come through and touch your spirit, sorry, my phone's still on, to touch your spirit is when your soul can reach out to touch and bring healing in for that other soul. Then that's when the real healing and the real magic will come in. And I know for me, that's when the spirit world will come in and bring in the healing that's necessary for that soul. So that's the thing I want to say today. Because yes, we've all gone through different things in our real world where your soul's evolved and it's grown. A lot of us have gone through loss of people, which also makes your soul grow. But at the end of everything, for me, our lives here on the earth are an illusion, because we're here to grow our soul, to touch of love, to touch of this earth lightly. Because when we go back to the spirit world, we will review our life and see what we did right and what we did wrong. Because there are things that we will still get wrong, but as we evolve, we know what is real and what's not real, you know. And for me to walk my talk, I work with the power of love. I'm a loving human being, and I've evolved over the last 20 years of doing this work. But I now know to talk love and to be a communicator of love, I need to be loved. I need to have love in my life. And I need to be around loving, gentle, healing people. And I know just over this last year that my husband going to the spirit world is bringing me so many loving people and situations into my life that I'm so blessed now in another level that I can say I really feel loved now. Not, I always felt loved by him, but he's bringing in new people to my life that are touching my soul so that I can feel love, and new people, and people that were in my life that have gone and now come back. And I want to say a dear, dear friend of mine who also works in the power of love and laughter, who's a healer, Kevin Brannigan. You know, we were just talking today then about the synchronicities of the spirit world and the people that have touched his life to help him move forward, and who I've just been meeting recently, also to give him the knowledge and the presence that the spirit world are watching him. And for me, that's what it's all about. It's about helping each other. And as soon as you let go of trying to control our lives, let go and let God, then that's when the magic is happening. And I'm so proud to say that that was a conversation I had with my dear friend today. But also in the spirit world as well. Because, you know, the real healing comes through touching that soul. But the other way healing comes in for the earth is through laughter. Because laughter is a great healer. And us healers will do our work in many ways, through words, but through laughter. But, you know, and that's for me is what the power of love is all about. So for me, I wanted to get that across. But the other thing I wanted to do was to answer some of the questions that were given to me. And one of them was, what's the difference between a medium and a psychic? And a lot of people don't understand that. And there is a difference. There's a huge difference. So let's first start with the psychic. The psychic works on a physical level. It works in the auric field, which is also where your etheric body is, your emotional, mental body. Everything that's happened to you, whether you've been here 50 years, 25 years, 40 years, is all in your auric field. And your aura contains everything that has ever happened to you. And a psychic will link into that. A psychic will pick up on that, will pick up on your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations. It'll also pick up on the people that you've loved and lost. So a psychic tunes into that energy. A psychic does not have the ability to tune in to the mediumship or to the spirit world. So that is a difference between a psychic and a medium. And there's some fantastic psychics out there, absolutely fantastic psychics. And I do not knock psychics because it's great work. And a lot of us need to know psychically where we are going, because the spirit within, that the spirit who is incarnate in this physical body needs to have hope. And psychics do great work. But they need to know the difference between psychic and mediumship, because I have been for readings myself and asked the person, are you a psychic or a medium? And they don't know. So it's about education, and that's absolutely fine. Now a medium goes up, raises their vibration from the spirit, from the physical world, up into the spirit world. So that's the discarnate spirit, the spirit that is no longer living. It has left the earth plane. It's went on to the spirit world. So a medium fine-tunes, like we used to fine-tune the radio. They fine-tune and they raise their vibration up into the spirit world, where they can get the droplets from the spirit. So that they pick up the droplets from the spirit to give proof that life is eternal. And they will bring forward the messages from the spirit world. They will bring forward the information from those, bring forward the memories that they would have had for the living spirit, their family, the friends that they love, and they want to know that they are okay. So it's a love letter from the spirit world that the medium will then bring in, the memories, the information of how they passed, the evidential things. Then they bring in proof they are with them now and tell them things that are happening in their life now. But the other thing the medium can also do is, because they're in the spirit world, they go into that fine line, the spirit world, which the past, the present and the future are one, and they can also pick up things that are happening for you, for your future. Because what have I just said? The past, the present and the future are in the spirit world. It's all the same there. So when you're linking in, when a medium links into that vibration, they can then get a glimpse of what's happening for you. Now, I just met a young man when I was coming out of Fraser's today, and he stopped me, he shouted me in the street, and I gave him predictions of things that would happen to him. He was going down to London to meet up with people. It was an audition for something that was coming up for him to do with television. And he was telling me that information I gave, and it happened exactly as I said. And how did I get that? Because I had connected to his uncle in the spirit world. His uncle Robert had come forward. He'd given me his name. He'd given me the information that young man had needed because he was in a low place. And then he came back and says to me, it happened exactly like you said. I said, well, darling, it wasn't me. Your uncle had shown me that because you needed that, because you needed the healing so that you could go forward to understand that. Do you understand what I mean? So the medium has the ability to connect to the spirit world who wants to heal the living soul here, to let you know, I am here, I love you, and please do not worry, it's going to be okay. So that is the difference between a medium and a psychic. So I was blessed enough to be able to pass that information on from his uncle, to give him that, to bring him the hope. And it's left him now with a feeling of lighting. He feels lighter. You can tell there's been a bit of a healing went on there, and he now has hope. And that's why the spirit will come forward, to let you know that you still have hope, and to bring in the love that they're still with you. So that really is a miracle in itself, that they can bring that forward. Now, one of the other questions I was asked is, what's the difference between a ghost and between a spirit? Now, for me, for people out there who don't understand that, so the spirit world are spirit who have left the earth, your family, your friends, your loved ones, who want to come forward to give you proof that it's who they are, what they did, how your relationship was, and they bring in the proof of love through evidential mediumship. Now, for me, a ghost is residual energy. It's energy that's built up over time in a place. It is not a person as such. It's residual energy which has been left in a place. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. So when people go on ghost hunts, there could also be what we call a lot of telekinesis there. A lot of energy which can make things happen, make things move. And when there's a lot of people together, the telekinetic energy, which is used of this, the psychic energy, can make things happen. And if there's a medium there or a psychic there, that makes things happen, like things move, things go bang in the night. But also what could happen is there could be a physical medium there who has a lot of red or physical energy, which that energy can also use, which makes things move. So there's two different sides to that. So when you go on ghost hunts and you get things moving, it could be coming in from the own psychic or telekinetic energy, but it could be that the medium themselves has a little bit of physical energy. But physical mediumship and psychic and ghost hunts is very different. So again, that's another question for another day. But for me, ghost hunts is about residual energy, energy that's been left over a period of time. When you go to old houses or castles, then that built up energy is there. And when you get a lot of people together, and the excitement's there, then you can get that psychic energy building where you can start to see fast moving orbs and that kind of thing, and things moving and things going bump in the night. So that's the difference between ghost hunting and mediums. Mediums bring in evidential evidence from the spirit world. So that is the difference there between those. So I hope that I've given a little bit of that for the questions that we're in. I know some of you are coming on and asking for messages from a loved one, but today really for me, it's Ask Angel is about trying to bring in understanding of the spirit within, which is the living spirit in the physical body, which is all of us who are living and breathing on earth, and the difference between those who are discarnate, who are your family, your friends, your loved one, who have gone on, so that we can begin to get an understanding of the difference of both. But what I will say to you, yes, it's fabulous when a medium can actually give you the proof and give you evidence that your loved ones are there. But you know, your family are still listening to you. They're still the same intelligent being they were before they went to the spirit world. So they absolutely can, you can get the proof. Afternoon, Christine, how are you, sweetheart? From lovely Newcastle. Anne-Marie, how are you, sweetheart? Can spirit who have gone on be unhappy? I will answer that in a moment for you, Roxana. But what I was saying, if you want a message from your loved ones, for proof if you're a skeptic, because if the spirit gives you a message to a medium, it's fabulous. But when spirit touches your own spirit, then there's absolutely no doubt whatsoever, because you feel it moving you. There is no doubt that the spirit world are there. So ask your loved ones to give you a personal sign. But just be careful what you ask for, because if you ask them to show themselves, then they will. If you ask them to move the chain at the back of your neck, they will. If you ask them to bring you in a certain smell, they will. If you ask them to bring you in a feather in a very unusual place, like in your cupboard after you've cleaned it, or in your wardrobe in a shoe, yes, ask for very specific things and they will bring it in. But do not change your mind, because if you start changing your mind, it's like ordering a pizza, phoning up an order for a ham and pineapple, then changing your mind and asking for a pepperoni, then changing your mind asking for barbecue chicken. God knows what you'll get when it gets delivered. So keep to the one specific question and then leave it. And then you'll get it at a very unusual time, and then you'll start to get it all the time. Okay? So that's what you need to do to get that proof yourself from the spirit world, because they will absolutely give it to you, because they are the same person of who they were. They're still intelligent. They still want to let you know that they love you. Now, Roxana asked, are the spirit world ever unhappy when they go to the spirit world? Now, when people go to the spirit world, they're always met by a loved one in the spirit world. No one ever enters the spirit world on their own. When they go there, they're met by family, their friends, they're told that they've passed on. They go to the first level of spirit, they go into that level, they're met there, they're told what's happening, they understand what's happening to them. And what their biggest concern is then is for the loved ones that they've left behind. So they will stay in that first level of spirit to watch over you who are here, because you are tearful, you are sad. Now, they may have a little tinge of sadness that they've left you, but they're not sad to be in the spirit world. In the spirit world, they feel loved, they're around loved, they'll feel the healing energy, and they're in that place where everything is shown. Nothing is hidden in the spirit world, so they can see everything. Okay? So in that first moment when they arrive in the spirit world, it's like when you first go on holiday, you're trying to get your bearings, you're trying to find out where you are. You'll find a local person who will tell you what's happening and where to go. But in the spirit world, the difference there is that they are met by somebody they know and they are loved. But that's exactly what's happening to them. So the first thing you want to do when you arrive on holiday is you want to contact your family, you want to phone them. That's me arrived, the weather's lovely, I'm okay, the food's great, the hotel's fabulous, and that's what you do when you go to the spirit world. They want to let you know, I'm here, I'm safe, I'm well, I'm with friends. Now, when you go to the spirit world, there's no right or wrong way of how long it will take for them to get in touch with a medium. Now, if I go to the spirit world, I am not a patient woman, so what am I going to do? I'm still going to be the same personality, so I'm going to attack the first medium who's like me, a bossy, no-nonsense type person. So the first person that would come to my mind would be Mags Tierney. She's like me, she's in there, she shouts, she gets it out there. And she's exactly the first person my husband used to tell me that he was there immediately, and he gave me the conversation of what happened right from hours from I left the hospice, to tell me that he was there, and he listened to that conversation that I had with my brother and my niece and my nephew. She gave me that because he knew she was no nonsense and he would use her right away, and that's what I would use. So that was literally hours, 2 days after he'd passed. She gave me the conversation that we had hours after he passed. So that's exactly what I would do. So there's no right or wrong way for the spirit world. So if the spirit world want a message to come back, but Gordon understood that. Gordon was a medium himself. He used to sit for healing and for trance. So he used the medium who would be no nonsense, because he knew that he would know a lot of mediums, and he knew that I was going to be seeing her fairly quickly, because we run a centre. So that's exactly what I would do. So it's the person in the spirit world, their understanding of how this works. So if you've got a skeptic in the spirit world, okay, if you've got a skeptic in the spirit world who didn't really believe in this, and their daughter comes for a reading or their wife comes for a reading, then that person is still going to be skeptical, okay? Now, so I had a woman here who lost her husband, and I brought through her mother, I brought through her granny, I brought through her brother, I brought through the bloody whole family. And the one person she wanted to hear from her was her husband. And we were on the 27th minute of her reading. Now I only do a reading for half an hour at a time because I talk very fast, as I'm doing now. And right as I was saying to her, is there anything that you want to ask? Is there anything that's not come up for you? I could see there was a sadness in her eyes. I went, there's something not come through for you who you wanted to hear from today. I said, but remember what I said at the beginning. There's no right or wrong way, and I can't promise to bring everybody in. But just at that moment, I said to her, I says, who's George? I said, do you understand who George is? And do you understand George has just recently passed the spirit world? And I want to say he's only been there, this was maybe February or March. He's only been in the spirit world since November. And I also want to say this man's a skeptic. He wouldn't have believed in this nonsense because he's telling me when if he was on the earth, he used to tell you, stop wasting your money on this rubbish. Okay? And just at that, her face, her mouth fell open, her chin hit her chest just about. And she went, that's who I wanted. That's my husband. And I didn't think he would come because he was a skeptic. I said, well, I nearly bloody missed the last bus because I was just closing off. And then he went on to give me very specific pieces of information of things that they had done together, to give her the proof. But right to the very last, and he knew if he didn't come in now to give that evidence, his wife would have left disappointed. And he didn't want to disappoint her. He didn't want to disappoint her, okay? So she got the evidence that he needed, okay? And the other time I gave another woman a message, she came to me on the Wednesday and she'd buried her husband on the Saturday, and I brought through the evidence of who he was, that she sat in the chair of what the priest had been calling her full Sunday title when she was called something else, and how she didn't like it. So there's no right or wrong way of the spirit world and how quick they come forward. For me, the biggest obstacle is the human person, the living incarnate person. Because when Gordon first passed, I was getting lots of messages from him, myself, because I was still accepting of it, whatever. But after he'd been passed for a couple of months, I went into a very dark place and very deep place where I needed to heal, and I wasn't aware of him at all. So I was talking to him and said, you need to really show me yourself there, you need to show me you're okay, you've healed, so that I can heal and I can move on. Because I know that I'm a loving person and I will move on with my life, as I have done. I already moved on with my life, because you do, because nothing stays the same. Energy constantly moves, constantly changes, the planets do, nothing stays the same. But for 2 months I wasn't aware of him and wasn't sensing him. And then he showed himself to me 3 times. And what he said to me is, you were in a place where you needed healing, and you were too busy healing everybody else and getting on with your work and doing that. So now I know that he's also moved on. He's also helping his family to heal, because they don't have my mindset or my belief. But you know, Gordon and I spoke about how we were going to move on together and what was to happen. And we promised each other that we would go forward, he would go forward and heal himself and go forward and do what he had to do in the spirit world, because we evolve in the spirit world. And I'm evolving and moving forward now with my life and bringing in loving people and loving situations into my life, which is marvellous. And he's still here. He showed himself to me in Guernsey and Jersey. He's helped me, you know, bring in some beautiful people into my life so that I can move forward. And it's wonderful, and I'm so blessed that I can understand that. So he's now working with his family to help them heal and help them move forward, as I now move forward in my own life, in my own way. Because I am a loving soul, and as I say, anyone who's healing and in this work, we need to be in loving, healing environments and have loving, healing people around us. So that is lovely. So it's not the spirit who cannot get through, it's the person who will have the difficulty in receiving that message. So that's a message someone just asked me about there. And the other question someone asked me about was reincarnation. Somebody put that up there. I can't remember who you were, darling, so I do apologise because I go on a wee bit too far. For me, when someone passes in the spirit world, everyone that person whose life has been touched by the spirit will need to meet that person in the spirit world. So let me use the example of my own grandson who passed. Now so the very youngest member of the family that he touched would be his twin. So not until his twin actually dies and goes to spirit world. So I will need to heal I'll need to meet Harry in the spirit world and heal from losing him, meet him face to face and heal from that. His mother will, his father will, his brother will, his great granny, all the older people, but the very youngest person who will need to heal from that will be his twin. So until his twin actually goes to the spirit world and they sit and they meet and they feel the emotions of that healing, of the loss and the pain and the suffering and of actually losing each other, until that healing actually takes place and that meeting takes place, then there will not be a reincarnation for Harry until that actually happens. But during that whole time in the spirit world, he will be learning, he will be evolving. But when we meet him, he will still be that baby. Because I will need to hold my grandson as a child, even though I have done the spirit world, he's came to visit and I have held him, but I'll still need to heal him and hold him and heal him from that loss, as will his mum, as will his dad, and as will his brother. Because the last time they were together, they were in the womb. So they're going to have to meet and have that closeness and that connection together so that they can go in. So Anne-Marie McKinn is asking, can spirit be reborn into another physical body? So that's the question that I'm now answering. Only after have they been through that, and then they will sit and evolve and talk to their guides and their workers, and then they will decide, do I want to be reborn? Is there still life lessons? Is my spirit, my soul need to grow? Does it need to evolve? And then they may go forward and actually do that. Then they may decide to come forward. So that's what's actually happened. How long does it take to cross over? For me, people, when you go to the spirit world, they're met by spirit and they cross over immediately. People have said wrongly, that a person hasn't crossed over. You cannot die and not cross over. You cannot, because you leave the physical body and you go into the spirit world. What sometimes happens is they stay in that first level, the physical level of the spirit world, where they're nearer the earth plane. So there's 7 different levels in the spirit world. So what may happen is they may stay on the first level, where they're nearer to spirit, where they may want to still give more physical evidence that they're around by bringing in knockings, by playing with the lights, the television remote, by bringing in different aspects of that. They may want to do that to let people know that they're physically still around, but they are in the spirit world. They are with people that love them. They are not stuck on the earth. There is a completely different energy there. Why doesn't my gran ever come through? Liam McCallum is asking that question. Liam, I'm sure your gran does come through, sweetheart. Sometimes when you go to a medium, you only have one person in your mind and you only want to hear from one person. When you do that, you are closing yourself off to the possibility and the many people in the spirit world who want to come through. And sometimes one person has to come through to clear the path between you and the medium to allow the other person to come through. So when someone comes for reading, all I ask them to do is to have an open heart and an open mind and not ask for anyone specifically to come through. Now the other thing is, it may be that you've not been to the right medium for your gran to come through, because each medium has a different vibration and each medium soul will resonate to different people. So for me, I resonate to fathers to come through, to grandmothers, to sisters, to aunts, to children, because we've lost a lot of children in our family. And yes, I do bring mothers forward occasionally, but my own mother's still here. So for me, I may not be the right medium for someone who's looking for their mother. Does that make sense? And now, because I have lost a husband or a partner, I can then bring forward someone who will bring that forward, so that soul can recognise that for another medium. So not every medium is the right medium for a certain person who they're looking for. So it could be, Liam, that you've just not found the right medium, sweetheart. But again, go forward with that openness, with that understanding of who and what the spirit world need to use to bring that forward. Don't go in just with that specific idea of your gran. But remember, your gran loves you, Liam. And your gran can come forward and give you evidence yourself. You just have to be open to that. So ask her for a specific sign, a smell, or whatever, and send that up to the spirit world, and she will bring it to you, darling, because as I said, when spirit touches your own spirit, then there's nothing to beat it. Okay? Now another medium has come on, Tim Abbott, who used to work at Arthur Finlay and does a lot of wonderful work with Spirit World. I've not seen him working myself, but I know I've heard lots of great work about your work, Tim. Has asked me the ingredients for ectoplasm. Now, I am not a physical medium. I do have some physical energy there because I've sat for trance for over many years. But for ectoplasm to build up within the medium, in the body, there has to be a physical medium there. And it can take 20, 30, 40 years for that to build up within the physical medium. It takes a long time of sitting. And they may sit for 30, 40, 50 years and get absolutely nothing. Because there's been a very few mediums now in this day and age. There's been lots of mediums out there. If we think of Helen Duncan and lots of greats, Gordon Higginson himself as well, who also brought forward ectoplasm. But Gordon sat from he was 4 years of age to build up, that type of energy, and it takes a long, long time for it to build up now. I know there's some mediums out there who are sitting for a long time now to try and build up ectoplasm. But for me, ectoplasm may be a thing of the past. And for me, for physical mediumship, now I would like to see physical mediumship brought into daylight, because in the darkness there's too much room for fraudulent stuff to go on. And I'm 100% a believer of spirit. I've had physical phenomena. I've had a printout from my printer upstairs when my computer was completely flat and not plugged in to the printer, which needed done. So I know that it's physical phenomena. I've had coins brought in to give me proof from the spirit world. I've had apports when I was reading this is Spiritualism by Maurice Barbanel. So the question is, to Tim's answer, what ingredients is needed for ectoplasm? My understanding is you need a physical medium, because the chemistry's got to be right in the body. Mediums for me are born. Lots are called to. Lots want to go out and do this. Lots are called to do this work because we're healers, but few are chosen. And with physical mediumship, even less are chosen. So there has to be a chemistry. The right chemistry has to be there. They have to sit for that blending and have the patience and understanding. They have to have the right group of people there for that to build up. But it does take a long, long time to build it up. So I haven't seen it yet. I'm sure there are real physical mediums out there. But for me, I would really like to see it happening in the daylight, because I know the spirit world have that capability now to do that. And if we sit in that power and allow our guides and workers to come forward, then it will happen. It will happen. Well, I hope I see it before my day goes, Tim. And I'm sure I will see you work one day, Tim. But I have heard lots of great things about you there. And chatted to you once in the gardens of AFC, which was nice. So I hope I've answered some of your questions. God, I do chat quite a bit. Gabby Aggie here. So I hope I've answered some of that. I once got told, if you take your own life, you go somewhere different. Darling, that's old teachings, and it comes from old religions and dogma and understanding. People who are in such a bad place when they're here in spirit world, they go to the spirit world. They need help. They need understanding. They're in pain. It's a sickness. It's an illness. So their loved ones will be there to collect them. Again, as I said, it's like going on holiday. They'll be met by people there. They'll receive the healing that they need. They'll receive the support they need and the care that they need from the spirit world. They don't go to purgatory. They don't go to hell. The spirit world is a loving place. And if someone is in a bad place here, they are ill. They are ill. And it's a sickness. And when you leave this physical body, sometimes people who take their own life here are too sensitive for this world, and the calling to go home is there. But of course, it's the people here that hurt the most because they've gone. So absolutely, they go to the spirit world and they get the healing and the love and the care that they need. They do not go to anyone anywhere else, Catherine Hasty. So please understand that, darling, that your family, if anyone sadly took their life over there, they do go there, okay? Do you get messages from spirits that are bad? Are they all positive? Another good question. I work in the power of love. I say I work on a love boat and I bring love letters from the spirit world. And when we all go to the spirit world, we review our life. We review our life and we review the things that we did to people. So we will actually feel the pain we caused another person. We will feel that and the hurt that they felt. And our soul will grow from that and understand that. It's like here, you know, when I was not so spiritually aware, I was very egotistical, very money orientated, wanted to get the top of my job. I worked very hard to go there and I didn't really mind how I got there. So, you know, I would have stood on a few people, but as I became more spiritually evolved, I understood that my words actually hurt people and I tried to be mindful of it. I tried to be mindful that it takes only 2 seconds to smile at someone and give them a nice answer and not cut them off. Yes, I have Mars in Aries, which means sometimes my brain doesn't always think and something comes out too quick and I say, oh sorry, I didn't mean to say that there, that may have come across quite curt. So I try to be nice about it and I try to be loving and send a loving thought to people, even people are not nice, because I know they're just not along the spiritual path as far as I am. I'm not there to judge anyone. I don't know what's happening in their life. I don't know what's happened in their life. So I've not walked in their shoes. So I work in the power of love is the answer. So when I work with people, they come forward. So if somebody's boy has maybe been a wee bit risky here, maybe been a bit of a gangster, might have been a bit of a lad, they still love their mammy. They still love people. And it's that love that I will bring forward. I'm not going to bring forward the stuff that they've done. It just means that they were in a different wavelength from me while they were on the earth plane. It doesn't make them a bad person. But what will happen when they go to the spirit world is they will feel what they did to another soul, and their soul will have to go and have to grow from that and learn from that. And they will be with like-minded people, people along that path, how they need to learn and how they need to grow. But I have never brought through anything bad in my life. I have never experienced anything bad in my life in the spirit world. I have saw spirit since I was a wee baby, since I was 3 years old when I lost my wee sister. When I was 8 years old, I said, or 9 maybe, I can't quite remember, I said to my mum, why does my granny and Laura only ever come at night to tell me bedtime stories? And she said at that point, and because they're ghosts. And at 8 you think ghosts are scary stuff. And I suddenly became scared then of the spirit world and I started to hide from it and I started to cut off. And then I realised all I did was hurt the spirit world because they only ever came to love me and to guide me and to teach me. And it's because of love, but not only until I got older did I understand that. So now with my own grandchildren, I teach them not to be frightened of the spirit world because of course they still see spirit, they hear spirit, and they know their Granny Annie talks to ghosties. But I try to teach them the difference between ghosts and spirits, just as I'm trying to teach you, because I didn't get that teaching from it, because my mum is a Taurus with a rising Scorpio and a moon of Scorpio, which sometimes can create fear, but she's very psychic, very intuitive. She's also got a lot of physical energy there, because when I go into her house and the two of us together, things actually move about in her house when we're two are together, because I've got a wee bit of physical energy. We've sat for trance for a long time. So it's actually quite funny, Tim, that you should ask that question. My mum always says when I go in, you always bring the spooky stuff. I said, Mum, it's just a combination of our energy which makes that happen. And in fact, my grandson actually said that to me. He says, Granny Annie, when I'm sleeping with Granny Sadie, which is my mother, that's his great-grandmother, he says, I actually woke up. He says, and my teddy was floating between me and my gran. What does that mean? I says, what it means, darling, is because your granny's got this energy and because you're a wee medium, the two of you together were creating an energy which actually made your wee teddy float up, and you've seen that. So that was a wee magic trick from the spirit world, you know. So teaching them from a very early age to understand spirit, because children have got, until they go into school and they begin to go in and use the logical brain, they're very much in touch with the spirit world. They're very much in touch with the other world, because it's the imagination side of the brain is how we get in touch with the spirit world. And when we go into the logic, we start to become more grounded and more earthbound, you know. And if we all remember to go in and touch of the imagination and maybe meditate and learn to use our sixth sense, because we are all born psychic, and we all used to use it for the hunting and gathering part, you know, and we use that in our gut instincts when we meet people. Well, I like you, I don't like you. That's you using your sixth sense, your psychic ability. So we get back to that, then we'll all make this world a better place. Because see, if we all went in and became more psychic, more intuitive, and we learn not to hurt another soul. Because see, if you saw every person as a soul, or seeing every person with their guardian angel, you wouldn't actually hurt them. Because you realise that you're actually hurting a wee angel there. You know, and we would be more mindful of how we spoke, how we did things, how we conducted ourselves. Wouldn't the world be a better place for us and for our grandchildren and our children? It would make it a much happier place. So to answer your question, darling, I have never ever came across a bad spirit yet, and I have brought people forward from spirit who maybe were a wee bit rough and ready, but hey ho, do you know what? We all have to do what we have to do when we're on here to live, and it doesn't make, in my book, it didn't make him a bad person, it just made him less spiritually evolved than I was. I lost my daughter 15 years ago. Can you tell me if she's still with me? Darling, your daughter is absolutely still with you. You are her mother. She will never leave you. Just like my grandson comes to visit his wee granny, comes to visit his mammy and his brother, your children will be with you until the day you go over, and they'll be there to collect you. Your daughter will be around you, giving you signs that she's there. So absolutely, she will be there, darling, around you. She will never leave you, and if you think of her, instantly she will be with you. Because as soon as you put that thought up, she will see in your aura. Because the spirit world don't see you, they see the colours that emanate from you. Okay? You know that song, True Colours? Never a truer word is said, and you'll be known by your true colours. In the spirit world, they only see you with your colour. So as soon as you send out that thought, then your daughter will see that, and she will come in around you. So she'll be there. Ask her for a specific sign. You know, when you look at her picture, you think of her, she is there. The same with your dad, darling. She's around you and she'll be watching you. And your mum, absolutely Kirsty, she will be there for you. Your dad will be there for you, Liz. As soon as you think of them, they see the colours and you will draw them in. Okay, absolutely draw them in. So please know that they're there, and there's never anything to be frightened of the spirit world. What brings them in is love. They come in because they love you and they want to support you and they want to tell you, I am here, I love you, and everything is going to be all right. Is there anything in my house, because things keep falling out my cupboard all the time? They're falling on their own, or am I just paranoid? It could be that you're just paranoid, sweetheart. I'm a very grounded person, I'm a Taurus, so I always look for the practical side of things. Spirit world sometimes get blamed for things and it's not even them. You know, there could be a washing machine making something move somewhere else. But you know, always look at the practical side thing. Someone says, well, I get cold breezes, do I have an Eskimo guide? I say, well, first of all, is your door opened? Is there drafts? If you get wooden windows? You know, look for the practical things. And it doesn't mean you've got an Eskimo guide if your knees are cold, because sometimes what actually happens when spirit come in, we get what we call psychic breezes, and they're generally lower down in the bottom. So that's also another explanation. So really for me, I've given a lot of explanations about the spirit world. I don't see who your younger, Marie Vance is my younger brother, ever with me. If you were listening to me there, Marie, as soon as you think of your brother, you'll be drawing him in around you. Sometimes people say they don't feel them, but again, we're not always sensitive. But the other way for spirit world to come in is sometimes they'll come into your dream state, because they come into your dream state because when you're relaxed, you're raising your vibration. And when you raise your vibration, then we actually go into their world. The spirit world don't really come into our worlds. We raise our vibration when we're sleeping or going into a sleep state or come out of a sleep state, where a lot of people see the spirit world, because we're still in that higher vibration where we're touching of their world. So we're touching of that world. Yes, the spirit worlds do stick together. Families always come in. When I'm giving a reading, it can tend to be a family reunion. But sometimes when we get families that have fallen out, so for instance, if a husband and a wife come in together but they've divorced and the daughter's there because they had a daughter together, sometimes I feel a wee bit like Switzerland, where I have to be the go-between for the child, because the father wants to speak and the mother wants to speak to the child. but they don't actually want to speak to each other. So sometimes I feel a wee bit like Switzerland, keeping the peace between the spirits there. Because sometimes the mother is remarried and didn't want to have anything to do because maybe it was not a good relationship, but they would have healed the differences in the spirit world, but they would come forward in that way so that the child could understand that it is their parents. Because if I say, if your mum and dad here, like on that house, if I said no, that's not how they would be. So they have to come and be how they would have been when they were on the earth. Do we all have spirit guides, Linda? Absolutely. We all had a guide before we came here, your master guide, and you would sit and talk about the lessons that you were going to learn and before you came to the earth plane. And then when you're incarnated, that guide will stay with you. As you become more spiritually evolved, or if you do meditation, then you can get to learn and understand the energy of your guide. So for me, that is important. I try to sit with my guide. I don't do it daily, I should. But what I do, someone asked me today, what do you do when you connect to spirit? So what I do first and foremost is I raise my own spirit up. So I allow my own spirit to be free. So it heals my spiritual body. And then from that spiritual body, I then raise it up into the spirit world. And I try and just go, I don't go into the spirit world for a message. I just go in there to try and understand how the spirit world works, so that my spirit can understand that. But sometimes when I'm up there to try and just understand the spirit world, I'm aware of my own guides, but sometimes I set specific intention to go up and speak to my guides, to talk to them, to understand them, to find out what's happening with them. So yes, for me, I do go up there. But unfortunately, I have to finish. I've got someone coming for a healing session at 6 o'clock. It's 10 to. I have to go and drink some water and get organised for that. But thank you for coming on to the first Ask Angel session. I hope I have given a better understanding of my spiritual truth, because what I spoke about is my spiritual understanding. These are my truths. If you don't understand them or they don't resonate with you, I am not saying I am. I can only tell you what I know and what I have learned from my development and through speaking with my guides and through my teachings and understanding. And if anything I've said doesn't resonate with you, please let it go. I am not saying I'm right, you're wrong. Just let it go. These are my spiritual truths. This is what I know to be fact. They may change as I evolve, because we're constantly evolving. I hope I have given you a little insight of who I am. I am a healer. I work in the vibration of love. I try to conduct myself as a loving being to all my fellow man. I do not judge anyone and who they are and where they've been, because I see you. If you go back to that film Avatar, I see you. I know you're a spiritual being. I know some aspects of your life will be hard, and I know it's all for your soul's growth. So please know that. And as a being of love, and to try and be a more loving being, is which my life purpose is, to heal you guys here who have loved and lost. But mostly I am here as the mouthpiece from the spirit world to bring forward that proof that love is an eternal flame that cannot be extinguished, and that like love, life can never die. Thank you for listening. God bless. Good night.